The Chicago Bulls wrap up their preseason with a victory. We'll talk about our expectations of the Bulls as the season starts on Wednesday. The Chicago Bears are taking on the New Orleans Saints, but listen, they've done something that they haven't done since 1995. We're going to talk about that, plus the injury report. And the Chicago Cubs have a quandary with Shota and Imanaga. Plus, we'll touch on all things Chicago sports related right after the intro. Good morning, Chicago sports fans. Happy Friday. Welcome to another episode of Chi-Town Sports Central. It's your boy Big Kev holding it down for all things Chi-Town. Don't worry, the Blackhawks will coming soon. It's coming soon. Listen. The Chicago, first of all, hit me up at Big Kev from the Chi, Big Kev from DACHI. And of course, follow me on Chicago White Sox Central. Don't forget the rest of the Chi-Town sports family. Type in your favorite Chicago sports team. Put the word Central behind it. You will find one of us. And then, of course, NBA Central, NFL Central, Fighting Illini Central, and the Shy Bulls podcast with the Cognac Boys, C-Dub and Bobby. We're going to get right into the content. The Chicago Bulls wrap up their preseason with a 126-120 victory over the Minnesota Timberwolves at the United Center last night. And it was a fun game to watch. I'm not even going front. It was a good game. Overall, you got to see some players that you want to see improve going into the next season with the Bulls, or even their second seasons, like Montes Buzelis, who we'll get to in a second. And then we also got to see some players that we're probably not going to see again, like Emmanuel Miller and Lachlan Olbrich. But it was a fun game. Overall, the Chicago Bulls did improve in certain areas, and they kind of faltered in others. Like, for example, like having – oh, no, these ain't right. That's talking about the Bulls had 31 turnovers and 52 blocks. That don't even make sense. But yeah, they did improve in turnovers. They started the preseason, with I think about 26 turnovers, and last night they only had about 15 turnovers, so not bad there. You got to see Jalen Smith get some big minutes last night, and he didn't disappoint. 15 points from him, 5 for 9 from the field. I heard my boy C-Dub ask, why did Jalen Smith fall out of favor with the team last season? And I firmly believe that part of it had to do with his affinity towards shooting threes. He jacks up a lot of threes. He did so again last night, 1 for 5 from three-point land. And then you had Nikola Vucevic in the lineup as well. He was 3 for 6 from the field. No, he was 5 for 12 from the field, 1 for 4 from 3. So from your big man position, 2 for 9 from 3. Got to do better. 13 points from Vooch, 10 rebounds, though. Probably one of his better games this preseason. He's been pretty much ass all preseason. It looks like he got a little bit more focus than he had been, and I'm not mad at him. Trey Jones got in the lineups last night as well. 8 points, 3 for 6 from the field from him, but we did get 4 steals, 4 assists, and 5 rebounds from Trey Jones. And if you're getting that from your guard position, good luck to the rest of the league, because Josh Giddey also put up 14 points, 1 steal, 9 assists, 7 rebounds in his minutes last night as well. So I'm looking at the bench as well. Zach Collins, he was okay. He did go 5 for 7 from the field, but he had 10 points, 1 steal, 2 assists, 4 rebounds. And then Julian Phillips off the bench, 17 points in 22 minutes. Javon Carter looks like he earned some minutes this season. I don't know if he's really going to play, but he did have a great preseason. Closed out his preseason with 12 points, 4 for 9 from the field. Didn't like what I saw from Kevin Huerter. 2 for 10, 2 for 9 from 3 with 8 points for him, but he's trying to work himself back into shape. Didn't play much this preseason, but the focus is on Montes Buzelis, as my boy Steve affectionately calls him, Tez, because he played like his name should be Tez. My man had 19 points last night on 8 for 13 from the field, 2 for 5 from 3, and he also had, a steal, 2 blocks, and that's an area where he's underrated. My man blocks the ball, assist, rebound, whatever. But he did have his 19 points, and one of them was a dazzling display of ball handling and an ability to create his own shot. And that's what the Chicago Bulls are looking for from Montes Buzelis going into the season, is can he handle the pressure of being one of the focal points on defense for opposing teams, right? he's going to be somebody that's on the scout sheet. And can he create off the dribble? Can create his own shot? Can he hit contested shots? It's going to be a up and down season for Matas Buzelis. I'm expecting him to take a step forward. Some people are expecting him to take a step forward to the point where he's even an all-star. I expect him to be in most improved player category. I'm not necessarily sure if he's going to average 20 points a game, but he can. He has all the intangibles to do so, but you got to take into consideration that Kobe White is going to be back in the fray. He didn't play at all this preseason. And then you also have to take into consideration that Nikola Vucevic is going to get his shots. And then you got Josh Giddey, who's going to get his shot attempts as well. So, but Matas, he has everything that he needs to be a star on this team and a star in this league eventually. But the preseason is any indication this kid is going to take a step forward, and that's what we expect. I expect them to work on their turnovers in the season. They did lead the preseason in assists, so that was pretty dope with 31 assists a game. Now you can take most of these numbers with a grain of salt, but shooting 30% from the field as a team, not good. They got to get better there. Shooting 71.6% from the free throw as a team, not good. They got to get better there. And averaging about 18 and a half turnovers, that's not too bad, but I would like to see some improvement there as well. Now, they did have 5.5 blocks a game. That's great. I want to see that continue in the regular season as well. They finished the preseason with at a 3-2 record, 120 points scored per game. That wouldn't be bad either in the regular season. But again, you can take preseason numbers with a grain of salt because a lot of guys that aren't going to see the floor are out there picking, swallowing up minutes. Now, last thing, rookie Noah Unsingay, he was okay yesterday. He had 2 points. That was a dunk on a fast break. I don't expect to see him much this season. Expect to see him play about 35 to 40 games, maybe. And the minutes that he plays, who knows how valuable those minutes are going to be in terms of like meaningful minutes in terms of how the Bulls are playing. Like he might get garbage time minutes. He might get spot minutes here and there. He might even get some this person's injured minutes, but he's a project. Don't expect much from Noah this season. And then, of course, check out the Windy City Bulls. All right, y'all know what it is. Hit us up on Chicago Bulls Central. Your boy Hayes is holding it down over there with daily episodes and mailbags. And then, of course, we all pop in and out. And then he's in tandem with the Shy Bulls podcast this season for the live calls over on Playback. So if you haven't gotten in tune with the squad on Playback, you're going to have to do so, man. It's fun. You get to watch the game with us and interact in real time. All right, moving right along, the Chicago Bears are going to take on the New Orleans Saints, and we've done in-depth analysis over here on this channel all week and, of course, on Chicago Bears Central. But it was brought to my attention yesterday that the Chicago Bears have done something that hasn't been done since 1995. The Chicago Bears have scored at least 21 points in each of their first 5 games. That hasn't been done in 30 seasons. Man, you cannot tell me that the Ben Johnson effect is not real. People that are looking at the Chicago Bears and thinking that this is the same Chicago Bears team from last year or the year before that or the year before that, they're not paying attention. They scored points in 18 of their 20 quarters this season, including 12 of their last 13. Oh, and that 21 points in each of their 5 games, you won't be able to name another team that's done it because the Bears are the only team that has done it this season. Yes, that includes the Detroit Lions. Yes, that includes the Kansas City Chiefs. Yes, that includes the Buffalo Bills. Every other team in the NFL is looking at the Chicago Bears as the only team to score at least 21 points in the first 5 games. And I didn't even know that. That is crazy. Even though the Bears are 3-2, that is crazy. Even though they got killed by Detroit in week 2, they still managed to put up at least 21 points in even that game. Shout out to the Bears for doing that, man. And listen, I remember that 95 season. I was about 13 years old. This was Eric Kramer, Lorenzo Neal, and Curtis Conway. And that team had promise, but they fell apart in the second half of the year. I think they had 6 wins in their first 8 wins. I think they started like 6-2, and then they ended up only winning 9 games and missing the playoffs. But that was the year that Eric Kramer put up what is still a record 3,800 yards, 38 and 29 touchdowns. That's the best quarterback numbers in terms of yards, because we know that Jay Cutler is the greatest Chicago Bear quarterback of all time. But Eric Kramer set the record for yards in that year. And here we go. Caleb Williams is looking to become the first Chicago Bear quarterback to throw for 4,000 yards. God bless you, Caleb Williams. Hopefully you can get there. Quick update on the injury report. Swift himself on the injury report. He wasn't there yesterday, and now he's on there today. Players who didn't practice, Grady Jarrett didn't practice, Cairo Santos didn't practice, and Noah Sewell didn't practice either. He's still in concussion protocol. And then DJ Moore is limited after his hospital stay. He got some limited work, and DeAndre Swift is dealing with a groin injury as well as DJ Moore. He got some limited work. And then Amin Agbang, you know how you say his name, Agbang Baniga. He got some limited practice as well with knee injury. And then you got players who were in full participation. Looks like we're getting Austin Booker back this week and Travis Homer, as well as Jonah Jackson. So the Bears are taking on the New Orleans Saints on Sunday. For any updates, news, and analysis, check out Chicago Bears Central. You're going to get your mailbag episodes tomorrow from the Cognac Boys, C-Dub and Bobby Hayes holding it down over there. Steve-O and myself popping in and out. And, of course, the entire gang live calling at noon on Sunday right here on YouTube, Chicago Bears Central. Be there or be square. And then moving right along, the Chicago Blackhawks later tonight are trying to improve on a 2-game winning streak, push it to 3 games over against the Vancouver Canucks. The Chicago Blackhawks are 2-1. They are at home tonight versus the Canucks. And if they win tonight, they'll pick up 2 important points to jump into possibly second place in the Central Division behind the Avalanche. They'll pick up 2 points. The Avalanche have 9 points. Blackhawks can only have 5. So if they pick up those 2, they'll have 7. And hopefully the Stars and the Jets and the Predators lose, or at least go to overtime and, lose in overtime. Then the Blackhawks can either be in a tie for second place with 7 points if they win, or they can find themselves in outright second place early in the season. That's solid for a young team that's trying to find their footing, albeit on the ice. But yeah, if you're interested in hosting the Chicago Blackhawks Central page, hit us up at shottownsportscentral@gmail.com, and then we can get in contact with Hayes and put you on. Come kick it with the gang. But Blackhawks have been fun to watch this season. I ain't gonna even front. Moving right along, the Chicago Cubs have an issue here. Shota Imanaga is in the midst of possibly becoming a free agent, or if the Chicago Cubs if they take their team option, that's basically a 3-year extension worth $57 million. Or if the Cubs decline their team option, Imanaga has a player option for 2026, which is $15 million. And then if they both decide to go their separate ways, then he'll become a free agent, and the Cubs will be free of their 32-year-old superstar. Now, at the end of the day, he was looking like the guy that he was last season, and it sucks that they didn't make the playoffs last season, because it would have been fun to see him in the postseason. But Shota Imanaga, he was injured, and once he came back from injury, he just did not look the same. He didn't look the same. And prior to the injury, it looked as though it was going to be an easy decision to bring him back. But he, in September, 6.51 ERA in 27 and 2/3 innings pitched, and he gave up 10 home runs in 27 innings. Then he got to the playoffs and didn't do well against San Diego. They had him come in I think the second inning. They had somebody start for him, and then he came the second inning, and then he ended up giving up home runs to Moncado. And it just wasn't a good look for him in that San Diego series. Now the Cubs were able to overcome that and win the series, but then he looked terrible versus the Milwaukee Brewers, to the point where they didn't even want to put him in Game 5, which was the series clincher. So, do you consider that an ace? And it's crazy how swiftly Shota Imanaga fell from grace for the Chicago Cubs. Like, he was looking like every bit of the ace that he was last season, until he got hurt, came back, and just didn't look good. And now they're in a situation where they just don't know what's going to happen. If the Cubs decide not to exercise their option, he still has his option, and his for all intents and purposes, he's most likely going to re-sign with the Cubs. And then when he does that, next year they find themselves in the same situation where they can pick up their club option, which would be a 2-year extension, or he'll still have another player option. So shout out to his agent for putting all of these clauses in his contract, because it doesn't look like Shota Imanaga is going anywhere over the next 3 seasons, to be frank. But if you want to hear anything else about the Chicago Cubs, head on over to Chicago Cubs Central, where my boy Big Mike is holding it down. And of course, I'm in and out over there as the secondary Cubs fan, because my first team is the Chicago White Sox, who did improve this season, but they still lost another 100 games. But there's hope waiting in the wings in the Arizona Fall League. Hagen Smith is taking care of business. Now, the Chicago White Sox picked him last season, and he's the number 5 prospect in the MLB pipeline. He's been all right. 22-year-old left-hander. He spent all of his 2025 in Double A Birmingham. He went 3-3 with a 3.69 ERA and 20 starts and had 108 strikeouts. Right now in the Arizona Fall League, he's thrown 9 strikeouts in 6 innings, 6 scoreless innings, mind you. So Chicago White Sox are getting a closer look at him. Maybe he'll find his way to the roster next season. Stay tuned to Chicago White Sox Central for all updates and analysis on the Chicago White Sox off season. All right, moving right along. Lastly, the Chicago Sky will be hosting the All-Star game, the WNBA All-Star game at the United Center next summer. And that's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun time. Of course, Angel Reese is the highlight here. She's the 2-time All-Star, back-to-back years, rookie and second year, going into her 3rd year. She'll be able to be a part of the host city for the WNBA All-Star team. Now, we know they did it last year for Indiana. Caitlin Clark and the the Indiana Fever hosted the All-Star game. It was a fun experience. And here they come back to Chicago, to the United Center. Should be a great time. Should be a great time. Hopefully, Angel Reese is still a member of the Chicago Sky at the time. And hopefully the Chicago Sky are playing good enough basketball to be good representatives for the WNBA at that time. So that'll be fun. That'll be fun. Stay tuned to Chicago Sky Central, where Steve-O, C-Dub, and Hayes and myself from time to time hold it down over there. All right. Hope you guys had a great week. We will be back on Monday. I'll try to do daily episodes. I'll be on vacation with the wife, but I'll take my laptop and my mic with me so I can jump in and do episodes. The Chicago Bulls are starting their season next Wednesday, so it'll be fun to see how that went. But if I'm not there, if I don't get a chance, if the internet is spotty, I'll be back that following week. But don't forget to follow the rest of the Chi-Town Sports family. Type in your favorite Chicago sports team, put the word Central behind it. You will find one of us. NBA Central, NFL Central, and the Shy Bulls podcast with the Cognac Boys, as well as Fighting Illini Central. Me, your host of Chicago White Sox Central, your boy Big Kev. You can follow me at Big Kev from the Shy, Big Kev from DACHI. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. Appreciate the love and support you guys have been giving us. It's your boy Big Kev holding it down for Chi-Town, and we're gonna holler at you guys next time. Peace.